This week, Lost Ark has achieved the number 2 spot of most concurrent players on Steam, with over 1.3 million users. In case you haven't heard, Amazon Games published its latest game last week, Lost Ark. This fantasy free-to-play MMO action RPG had a head start to launch on February 8th, with the full launch not following a few days later on February 11th. In fact, the game was so popular that it broke 500,000 concurrent player mark in its first 24 hours. However, the true climb began when the floodgates were finally opened and the game was accessible to everyone. Lost Ark has had a continued success. Its peak is now over 1.3 million concurrent players, which it reached on February 12th according to SteamDB. The leap in players dethroned previous top-played games such as CSGO, Dota 2, Cyberpunk 2077, and Amazon's New World. The MMORPG is only topped by PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, which had an all-time peak of 3.2 million, definitely a tough number to beat. Of course, this huge success isn't all fun and games. Due to the number of players wanting to get in and try some fun classes like the Sorceress or the Paladin, this caused some large queues to get into the game. This week, new servers were added, including a region for Europe West. There is also a celebration gift available from February 19th to March 1st, which includes goodies such as the Tepion mount, instrument skin, healing items, potions, and more. If you're diving into Lost Ark, be sure to check out our Lost Ark content, including guides, builds, and more. You can also drop by the Lost Ark Wiki for all the latest info. You can even join us over on Twitch to check out the game with us. Another MMORPG in the news this week is Final Fantasy XIV. Director and producer Naoki Yoshida confirmed that his team will be adding another new and highly anticipated deep dungeon to Final Fantasy XIV. This is due to the rising popularity in its roguelike elements since it was introduced in the Heavensward expansion several years ago. The news was announced during FanFest 2022 held in Korea last week. Deep Dungeons, a fan favorite, will be making its return in one of the 6.0 patches after the release of the Endwalker expansion. Currently, there is no release date announced for the patch. Deep Dungeons are comprised of multiple evolving floors. It has its own leveling progression system and equipment that is separate from the rest of Final Fantasy XIV. What's amazing with this game mode is that you have the option to play it on your own or with friends, so you're not bound to wait with other players to join you. It's also very fun to participate in since you experience something different and new every time you go inside, given that they're also comprised of roguelike missions. Dying Light 2 received its first free DLC called the Authority Pack this week, and the first of the 3 cosmetic items that are based on the Peacekeepers. Aiden will be able to collect and equip 3 new items, namely an intimidating jacket, intimidating cargo pants, and intimidating high tops. As the Steam DLC page reads, bring law and order back to the city and make sure everyone follows the rules with the Authority Pack. Techland has committed itself to at least 5 years of post-launch content for Dying Light 2. This isn't surprising considering the first game, Dying Light, has just recently received its last piece of DLC. Dying Light was released about 7 years ago in 2015. March to May is when the actual new content will start dropping. First off, in March and May, we'll get a set of challenges that players can choose to overcome. In April, we'll get a series of new events, the first of which are mutations for the infected. The first ever story-related DLC will be coming in June. Dying Light 2 Stay Human is currently available on all major platforms, including PC. Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous First Story DLC, the inevitable excess was unfortunately delayed. Owlcat Games tweeted saying that the upcoming DLC's release date is now being moved to March 3rd. The DLC is part of the Season Pass, which costs $28.99 USD. You can also purchase it separately, although the price has not been revealed for the individual price. Owlcat Games made the difficult decision of delaying its release. After running numerous tests, they said that they had come to the realization some of the encounters aren't as what they'd hoped, with more time needed to improve the experience. In case you've missed it, Inevitable Excess is a story DLC that will visit some of the locations from the base game, such as Threshold and Is. You'll also be wielding mythic abilities in an attempt to save the space-time continuum from its demise. If you're new to Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous, be sure to drop by our wiki as it contains tons of tips to help make your experience more manageable. Baldur's Gate 3 received patch 7.0 in early access this week, adding a number of additions including the Barbarian class. Now players can get the ability to throw goblins and other small critters at other goblins. Along with the new class comes with a number of improvements, tweaks, and other fixes. Patch 7 is currently available to all players who own the game in early access. The Barbarian brings all the rage and fury that was missing from the game and does so with explosive fervor. These reckless warriors can harness their rage as a bonus action, which gives them melee damage bonuses as well as physical damage resistance. Rage lasts for about 10 turns. Barbarians will also get to select between 2 new subclasses. We actually have a video that covers the full extent of the Barbarian class, as well as a more in-depth look at patch 7 for Baldur's Gate 3, so be sure to go check that out on our channel. In other Baldur's Gate 3 news, it looks like the game won't be leaving early access until 2023. In an interview with Eurogamer released this week, the studio founder Sven Vinnick shared that while they made a ton of progress, there is still a long road ahead before they feel comfortable with meeting a launch date deadline. 2023 seems to be the aim, as a 2022 launch is looking unlikely, they shared. If you've been looking for a game that combines medieval fantasy and first-person stealth mechanics, well, look no further, as the RPG Abermore will be releasing on March 29th. Developer behind 10 Second Ninja Interactive 4 Circle has revealed a brand new project called Abermore. Following The Thief named the Unhanged Man, Abermore is a first-person stealth game that aims to pull off the heist of the century by infiltrating the royal palace with 18 days to plan out the task. Every campaign sets to provide a unique experience, completing an 18-day run-up to a heist, stealing from homes, selling loot, gaining new gear, and forming alliances for the ultimate heist. Each of the missions are procedurally generated, making the next one quite different from the last. The Steam page shares that players can use 14 unique abilities that can help guide their criminal prowess. The game sounds like there will be some twists and turns as you try to become the ultimate criminal mastermind. Abermore will be releasing March 29th for PC via Steam. This week we also got a chance to catch up with the developer Dark Point Games, who are behind the Greek mythological inspired Souls-like Achilles Legends Untold. This game recently had its closed and open betas, letting players get a taste of what this isometric action RPG has to offer. We had some questions about the game in terms of its unique mix of action RPG and Souls-like flavor with a twist. We got to ask questions about the size of the game on release, the inspiration behind the title, combat, the Gaia AI systems, and much more. The title is set to release sometime in Q2 2022 in early access, so if you want to know what this interesting title will entail, we have the full interview over on Fextralife. For a quick summary, the title will include co-op features as demonstrated during the beta, offering a slower pace of combat compared to hack and slash, but the game concentrates on a more Souls-like experience, but a bit faster compared to the likes of Dark Souls combat. The title also has an open world experience, meaning you can choose where to go and move around freely if you wish. The devs also tease players will have choices to make in the game, with some severe consequences in where the story takes you. For more on this interview, you can head over to fextralife.com.
Well, that's it for the Week in the Wikis. Please join us again next week for yet another great week of gaming. Remember to check out our VIP program for some exclusive supporter benefits. And budding writers should take advantage of our Become an Author initiative. Thanks again for being part of this great community. Keep checking in with us with news, reviews, YouTube streams and vids, and general wiki goodness.